Welcome to Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing experts Robert O'Haver and Matt Weber. Brought to you by Pixel Cut Labs.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Search Talk Live. I'm your host, Robert O'Haver, along with Matt Weber, the co-founder of Roar Internet Marketing in Orlando, Florida. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing great, Robert. How are you today? It's a beautiful day here outside of Orlando.
It is a beautiful day. So today we're going to be talking more about content marketing. One thing that you can do at a lower cost than, paid advertising is to get that organic traffic. Honing in on things in the slower times like this. So really coming up with good content and bringing that lower costing traffic to your site is key. Wouldn't you say, Matt?
Definitely, yeah. People are looking for reach. In tough times like this, every part of marketing gets reevaluated, and I think it's great because now people are looking at absolutely everything, and organic search is one of those things that's being reexamined.
Absolutely. Today our guest is Fernando Angulo. How are you doing, Fernando?
Oh, great. Today's a beautiful here in Prague. Sunny day. Oh, yeah.
So welcome to the show. Why don't you tell our guest a little bit about yourself?
Oh, sure, definitely. Well, my name is Fernando Angulo. As you mentioned, I'm head of communications at SEMRush. I've been working for SEMRush already 9 years. It's going to be next month. And of course, I was into digital marketing more than 10 years. I was working for different companies. Actually, I have my own personal project as well, growing with SEO, with paid advertising, with social media. And I entered this team in 2011. It's going to be, working not for SEMRush exactly, but for another project that we have that is called SEO Quake, which is a toolbar that is giving you several metrics around your website, different websites, about the links, about the keyword stuffing, about the keyword density, and so many other metrics.
And
but from there,
does that tie into SEMrush's tool, or?
Oh yes, definitely. Right now it's fully integrated. If you have a SEMrush account, or don't have it, but if you have it better, you will have, for example, different scorings, different metrics to see how good is that side, and of course your competitors, how good they are in your own industry. So right now they're really integrated. Back then we had around 2 million downloads on Mozilla. Right now between Mozilla, Chrome, and other browsers, we have more than 40 million downloads. So it's a lot of visibility. It's a lot of brand awareness. So from there, I was working for SEMRush in customer success, in sales, then in marketing, doing every single job that you can do in a marketing team.
As far as being an evangelist for organic, you are probably one of the most traveled speakers we've ever had on the show. Before the virus, you traveled quite a bit, correct?
Oh, yes, that's right. Before this situation, I was doing basically 3-4 countries per week. My personal record was doing 3 conferences the same day in 2 different countries. So yeah, it was quite a lot. Right now, I've learned to live in one single place. But again, I'm doing a lot of online. Everything is online right now. And it's kind of more comfortable for me. I really get used to just having calls, not going to the airport. But still, I miss the airports. Right now, it's going to be kind of more difficult to go through security, right?
Yeah. So let's dive into it. I wanted to go a little bit back to, the birth of content on websites, and how it's really kind of, improved over time. I mean, as well as I do, you've been around long enough that, content used to be just spam central. People were they could throw a paragraph of the same keyword a million times and rank for it. Remember those days?
Right. Those were the days.
Yeah. But content, blogs came along in a way that it was really meant for people, but it was also meant for to get the search engines to come to your site more often. Instead of having that static content that really never changed, you were able to have a blog where you could add stories and create interest and rank those stories so that not only the search engines hit it, but you get actual people that want to read those stories. So and that's really how it's kind of progressed through these. So it's more about the person than it is the search engine like it was back in the day.
Oh yes, at the beginning, well, it was basically like an open diary. You could write about what was happening to you, as you did with a piece of paper. Basically, you build your website no matter if the interface was awful or if you have only a couple of pages there, or if it was not a personal domain. You can be using public different public domains out there inside of other domains. So you were using subdomains for that, or folders, whatever. So nobody was thinking about the technical part of blogging at the beginning, just about the content. So what is the story that you want to tell, your story? But as you mentioned, time has passed, and right now it became really technical. If you are not working the technical part of your website, your visibility is going to be lower than it could be. If your site is not really fast, your visibility is going to be affected. Your rankings are going to be affected. If you have too much code, too much HTML code, and you don't have much content out there, also your ranks are going to be affected. So everything went very technical, but still it's about content. It's about solving people's problems. It's about answering people's questions. Actually, I believe you remember a couple of years ago, people from Google were telling that search engines are changed from search engines to answer engines, right? So basically, people are searching for answers to their question about how to do something, how to create something, and how to buy something, whatever. Right now, I believe last year, Larry Page was saying that search engines are changing a lot, and we're thinking to change that, the answer engine, into getting things done engine. So the search engines are going to be reminding you what you need to do, what you need to buy. So there's going to be a more interactive web out there.
Yeah, and how do you, in your eyes, how do you foresee that?
Well, basically,
what do you think is going to happen?
Yes, basically, the most interesting results for me the last 2 or 3 years are these little fellows called featured snippets, and all the other search features. But the featured snippets are really good because they are enabling the power of voice assistant. So if you are working with any kind of technology related to voice recognition, you will see that, okay, this technology is working really well. But in order to make an AI work well, you need to have tons of data. And Google, companies like Google, of course, we have Apple out there, we have Facebook, they have that data, and they can provide a really strong source for empowering that AI. So for doing that, we research how Google right now is supporting their own audio, their voice devices. And we saw that the main source for a voice search result are these guys, the feature snippets. So basically, it's around 86% of the answers that we got from a voice search query. So let's say I want to buy Chinese food, or call my doctor next to me. Whatever the search query is, the voice query is, Google is giving those results from feature snippets. So from there, enabling the power of answering your search queries to activating them, the distance is not so far, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. So are you saying that you think Google is architecting the search engine results page in a way that will help them get deeper into the voice search business through their own appliance?
Oh, yes. I believe that's the ultimate goal, to have really powerful assistant that can help you think about other things that are more important than doing your normal work activities. So if you are, I don't know, a doctor, an engineer, or a lawyer, whatever that you can do manually, if Google or any other AI can do that for you, can remind you when you need to do, or how you need to implement it, how you need to improve that process, they're going to do that for us, of course. And how we're going to be enabling it. Right now, we are feeding these AIs with all the data, with all the knowledge that we have. Actually, I was amazed about one of the latest research that Google has launched, that it was based on how people are actually acting during this quarantine period. And they were just launching, there was publishing information about every single country, about the location of every single people, of course, with no names, all anonymous data, but saying, okay, there is 10% of people who are going to their jobs, 25% of people who are going to parks, and 65% of people that are staying home. So they have all the information already from all the people who owns any mobile device, any GPS. And basically, if you have a mobile device and you have your Google Maps or you have any other Google products, you already are part of their data source. So you're provided already all this information. And where are you based right now? It doesn't matter. The only thing is that if you are using any Google product, you are already feeding their database.
That's super interesting because you think at the end of the day, this is all they're telling us SEOs what to do that will ultimately help them sell more Google homes.
Well, that's my personal opinion, but I believe as well that when people from Google are talking, they're basically not talking to SEOs, right? They're talking to a different public. Sometimes it's very hard to understand what they're saying from a SEO perspective because we want to know more, right? We want to know the ranking factor. We want to know what we need to do, and they're trying to hide a lot of things from us to not tell the whole thing because it's a secret, because it needs to be kind of complicated for everyone. But I believe that they really want us to give us all the information. They're having all the information, and at some point they're just gonna be predicting what a user wants from their story.
Wow.
I wonder what implications that have as far as will it give other websites once it's found locked in on that particular site that everybody favors, what opportunities do the other sites that come along with more better content,
Well, if we see the latest Google updates of their algorithm, more than 90% of them are related to the quality of the content. So we see even the latest core update in 6th of May, that was also related to the quality of the content. So if you have content that is answering people's needs, people's questions, if you have good sources for that and you're linking those sources, so you need to have really good external citations there, you will be doing good. But also you need to share there some additional information based on search, on a research. So you need to give your sources. So that's basically a good thing if you are in the, for example, health industry, news industry. But I don't see how that's, efficient if you are in the travel industry or in the hospitality industry, because it's there, right? You have your own location. But for most of the cases, for the situation that we're living today, if you're in the health industry, you need to be 100% trustful resource. So the content that you are providing needs to be really trustworthy, needs to be original, and of course needs all the research that you have there. If you are telling that, okay, the next vaccine for the COVID-19 is this, you need to support that with something really big, right?
Right.
So all these changes are basically made for the quality of the content.
What advice would you give to someone who has a service that's kind of a commodity, a plumber, an air conditioning repair company, or a pest control company, where the consumer just needs it and they need it now, and they're really not looking for any depth of content? How does that type of business provide the type of content that you now say the algorithm is even favoring more heavily?
Well, basically for a plumber, or let's say any other related profession that they were not really into digital right now, because they are the classical services that you can find in any store. All that stuff has changed with this situation. I believe all the digital transformation that it should come the next 5 to 10 years, that's something that is happening now. All those people, they need to think about the main questions that user are entering in a search bar. For example, if you need a plumber, what would be the questions that people are are entering into Google, for example, to try to acquire those services. Around that, I believe that we can find more than 1,000 or maybe 10,000 search queries. From there, let me check. Oh, yes, I have around 800 questions, different questions that people can ask about that. For example, how to hire a plumber, where to find a plumber, what is the price of plumber services. Whatever of those questions are really good if you are building content for your own website. But I will definitely recommend to use 3 key questions. So first of all, to understand how trustful you are, you need to reply to the question that started with the question word, what is, and what is the name of their service, the name of the product that you are providing. Of course, what is your plumber service? And you need to have that in a paragraph explaining what is the service that you are providing. What is, I don't know, Fred's plumber office, Fred plumber services. What is that? Answer that question. The second one is how to use those services or those products that you are providing, how to call or how to close a deal with these guys, whatever how to that you have, you need to have that content already in your website. And the last question, which is a really good one that you need to have if you're a plumber, of course, is where is. And with that question, answering that question, you, of course, if you have already your map in your web page, it's good. But if you are just creating content, basically using in the title, where is Fred's plumber office, you can have also a feature snippet. With all of these 3 questions, what is, how to, and where is, you can have a feature snippet for your own brand name, for your own services or for your own product. So I will definitely suggest to start with those 3 questions.
Fantastic. Good advice.
So, what if it's more like, your local citation type of thing? It would be important to have that kind of stuff in your content. As far as, plumber near me, I know that's all locational based search queries, but I'd like to add to say that, having that local citation in those type of content as well is important.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you are mentioning your name, you need to mention your address, your phone number. That's what you need to have is the NAV, right? Number, and address, and phone. If you're in Google My Business, that's the foundation of being with a local citation. Yeah.
As you travel and you meet local small and medium-sized businesses, is it your sense that most businesses make the mistake of looking at their own website in a vacuum and they just look at themselves without looking at the competition that they have to get past and get beyond on a Google search engine results page?
That's something that happened all the time. It happens all the time. And I was sure that traveling from one country to another, I was sure that I need to ask this same question. And I was asking basically in most of the countries. The last one that I remember was in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, for a small group of people, business owners. I was asking them if they have acquired, if they have tested the services of their own e-commerce business. The result was kind of impressive because only 2 or 3 hands went up, and the rest, it was like 100 people in the room. The rest, they didn't even try to acquire something from their own stores. So what we're talking about, you are selling something, but you don't know the pains of the user. You need to check first, then provide the service. If you're thinking only about the selling, about closing the deal, that's not a good sign that the things are going to be good in the next couple of years for you. Because it's about the user, it's about the experience, and it's about the service. And yes, basically, it's a common situation in every single country. Even most of the business owners, they are not trying their own services. They don't know how good their experience, their user experience is, and that's something that obviously needs to change.
So if you were creating a plan for a typical business who's right now, let's say average position 8 or for their really important keyword, non-branded, and they want to go, give us just a simple 3 or 4 step plan that you would offer them. Here are the 4 things you want to do in priority to get up higher on that Google search engine results page.
Well, there is a strategy that I really love to use. When you are creating a piece of content, you need to think about that as separate project. So you are creating a blog post, let's say, right? The reason that you are creating this blog post is to rank. It's not because you need to do this just for the sake of creating content. You are creating something because you want to rank, and you rank to rank higher. First thing is, okay, you think about the keywords or the long tail keyword that are you going to be using there? Because when you are posting something, when you are creating a piece of content, you're not going for just one keyword, right? You are going for the more keywords, the better. In some cases, I saw one post with 10,000 keywords as result. They're really amazing. So the more positioning that you can have from one single post, the better. For doing that, you need to do your keyword research, understand what are the questions that can be included there for getting, of course, feature snippets. From there, once you created the piece of content, you need to be able to support it with different other strategies. So the second part here will be you have an email list. Send that post to your email list. Ask your audience to do something in that post. Comment, share, whatever the action you want to do. The second, in this very second step, you need to use several strategies. First, email blasting, right? Second, can be create a podcast on that, create a video on YouTube about that. That is linked to that post. You are working with infographics on Pinterest, for example. Also, publish that and put a link to that piece of content. So the more resources you can interconnect with your piece of content, the better for creating a hub of feature snippets. I believe this is the main goal for a piece of content that you are publishing, because from there you can see the quality of the content that you are writing, and you can have several other results. First of all, brand awareness, visibility, rankings, and at the end you will have new users going to your webpage. So one piece of content is not 1 hour, it's not 3 hours of work. For us, for example, in SEMRush, one piece of content is around 2 weeks. First week of research, putting their data, asking influencers to quote about that related topic, creating designs, putting out there a webinar, creating a video to support that, doing Facebook ads to promoted that in Google Ads. So it's an entire project in order to go for your main keywords.
Oh, that's pretty insightful. That is really insightful. So the takeaway there is, for companies that struggle to come up with ideas for content, take the ideas that you have and repurpose it and put that content in multiple places to get the maximum amount of value out of it.
Yeah, the more support that you have from your channels, the better result you will achieve.
Absolutely. And I would also recommend adding, schema markup. It goes a long ways in helping you rank for those featured snippets.
Oh, yes. If you are using schema markups, that's a sign that first you are using kind of more technology, because you need to use code there to put that. And of course, you are giving Google just a sign that you are the best result out there for that, because you have selected that schema markup for that result, whatever it was. Is the side links, or is the map, or is the phone, whatever it is really good to have.
Absolutely.
Hey, I want to stir the pot a little bit, Robert and Fernando, because we've had a couple folks on the show with different opinions. We've had a couple folks say, listen, don't go for those featured snippets on your most important keywords, because they're not going to get to your website. And now you're not going to get any other organic listing on that page if you get the featured snippet. And then there are other people that say, no, you should go for them, because at the very least you get brand exposure. If your keyword is so important to your business, it's the number one keyword that you got to win, do you really want to waste it on something that's not going to generate a click to your website? Robert, what are your thoughts?
I have to say it depends on the business. If it's an e-commerce site or a legal service or plumber, I would say I would rather have the organic list and obviously the local 3-pack. But if it's a blog post, more informational type stuff, absolutely.
What's your thought, Fernando?
Well, that's actually a good point, and I'm really agree with the depends. It depends of the type of business, but I will say also that if you are working for corporations, for big brands, and you're not anymore interested in traffic, if your main goal is not traffic, so yes, go for feature snippet because you want to build brand awareness, you want to build trust, you want to support your high results, not because of the traffic, but because of your exposure. But if you are starting and you are using your transactional keywords for that, you need to be smart, of course. You need to have that click. So it depends on the strategy that you want to achieve. For banks, electrical companies, insurance company, I definitely recommend to use feature snippets. For e-commerces that they are promoting 1,000 products, I will not recommend to use feature snippet for each product, but for the model of business, yes, but for their products, none of them.
Correct. So we both agree on that one.
When you look at Google Suggest, Robert and Fernando, here's a theory for you. Are we going to see long tail keywords go away? Because when you look at Google Suggest, they're now kind of telling what's the next best keyword for you to focus on. And users are clicking on these Google Suggests, so they're not authoring or creating their own queries anymore. They're just responding or reacting to what Google suggests. Have we seen the end of the long tail keyword because of that?
I think a certain percentage of it maybe, but I wouldn't say it would completely go away.
What's your thought, Fernando?
I need to agree with that because it's very, for me, it's just common sense that when you are using the Google, what is that? Autocomplete. Now, Google Suggest, well, it's the autocomplete, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm using that only for playing or for creating games, for parties. But when I want to use for something specific, the Google autocomplete is not helping me that a lot because the long tail keyword is way more complicated. But it will good to see what is the first how many words they are in that sentence for the autocomplete. To check that basically is really easy. But I'm not so sure that is something helpful for a business, for example.
Yeah, and I've always found too, as you're typing out that long tail, you're almost to the end by the time it actually gets it right. So
Yeah, but look how much it's changed, though. Remember back in the day when you would start typing and all of the Google Suggest would be the same words that you typed, right? They would all have the same first words. But now you look at Google Suggest, and it's going to suggest queries that may or may not start with the same words that you typed.
It's getting smarter.
Yeah. Fernando, what do you think is the most overlooked ranking signal by the average SEO, the one that has the impact that people don't spend proportionally the right amount of time on to get their content to rank?
Matt, why don't we hold that question real quick? So we got to take a break. After the messages, we're going to have what's called Who Influences the Influencer after these messages.
Hey, Brennan here, founder of the U.S. Search Award-winning SEO agency Pixel Cut Labs. We're launching a new video series and we're inviting the Search Talk Live family to get involved. So here's the deal. I'm opening up a group of one-on-one consulting sessions to fix your SEO roadblocks. If you're okay with us publishing a recording of the call on our website to promote our expertise, the consulting session is on me. If you're facing a crawl issue, struggling with creating effective content, or just need some help identifying the right keywords to target, go ahead and take the next 2 minutes, visit bit.ly/SEO call. There's no spaces, no capitals, no hyphens, bit.ly/SEO call, and tell me what you need help with. If I think I can help, I'll send over a few times for our consulting call, and you can choose what works for you. So again, the link is bit.ly/SEO call, no spaces, no hyphens, all lowercase, and it will take about 2 minutes to fill out. I'll bring everything to the table to help you break through the barriers you're facing, as long as we can use the recording of our call to promote our knowledge. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Directive is an industry-leading search marketing agency fully focused on helping B2B marketing teams increase their results. If you're looking to increase your marketing qualified leads and decrease your cost per acquisition for search engines, I'd highly recommend you take a look at their site. We've actually had their CEO, Garrett Marguth, on the show, and I can honestly say these guys are doing some great stuff. I hear that they even have their own analytics system that lets you correlate your SEO, PPC, or content efforts directly to revenue. If you're a B2B company and thinking about switching agencies, or if you're in-house and need help, I'd give Directive a look. Visit directiveconsulting.com or call 949-214-4024. Again, that's 949-214-4024. Again, that's Directive at directiveconsulting.com.
Your website analytics data probably feels like this, but it could feel like this. Making sense of all the website data available to you hasn't been easy until now. Smialytics transforms your website analytics data into easy-to-understand, memorable photographs. You pick your own photo theme. Smialytics, S-M-Y-L-E, lytics. Like analytics, only happier. And it's free at smialytics.com. Want to know how your website is doing? Get the big picture with pictures. It's the easiest and most enjoyable way to understand your website data. No charts, no graphs, no cost. Sign up today. Smialytics, S-M-Y-L-E, lytics, like analytics. Only happier at smialytics.com.
Get your questions in on Twitter. Type hashtag SearchTalkLive and your question. Now back to the show.
All right, Fernando, it's time for Who Influences the Influencer. We want to know who influences you, online, offline, wherever it may be, but it keeps you kind of up to date in the industry, besides the wonderful tool that you use.
Oh, yes, we have tons of data, our own research. Actually, inside of the company, the CEO of the company is actually not a very well-known specialist or influencer. His name is Oleg Shogolev. Basically, the ideas of this guy are really impressive. It's all about the audience. It's all about what they want. We need to build it. We need to be so flexible to create the service that it's gonna be solving their problems. And we have so many focus groups. We have so many people helping us with the products. And with an army of around 300 developers working daily on innovations, experiments, you can have lot of wins, right? Of quick wins, and of course you can have mistakes as well. So one of the person from my company, of course, is the owner of the company. He was inviting me, I believe that was 9 years ago, my first month in the company, to read one book. He was recommending me one book that I think I read that 11 times already, and I meet the author last year. Is Getting Things Done by David Allen. I went to his workshops as well. I was sure that the things that he is actually recommending, his the configuration, the setup for your daily task, how you can organize your personal and professional life, just writing in a piece of paper your thoughts, and creating the next step to each idea. So an idea without the next step is useless. You need to have every single time that you have an idea a next step for getting things done. So I will take these two people, these two experts in my list.
Very good.
Well, that's great. And when we were talking before the show, I was wondering how you keep so organized and get so much done with your immense travel schedule. So now you've given us the secret. Give us the title of that book one more time.
Yes, it's GTD by David Allen. GTD means getting things done. Getting things done. Oh, yes, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's so easy to do. But again, it's so easy to do that you can think, oh my God, this is too easy.
Fernando, what do you think is the one ranking signal that is most overlooked by SEOs, the one that has the most impact, but proportionally they don't spend the most amount of time with?
Well, I will say something that is not very new, but is something that I will definitely add out there that it needs to be overlooked by SEOs. That is the HTTPS, all the SSL certificates that they need to be in place. Why is that? Not because it's a really ranking factor. At least Google they're not telling that. We had several research based on the correlations between HTTPS and the ranking. We saw some results. Of course, correlation is not causation. But we saw that basically, if you have your website and it's not HTTPS and you want to have some acquisitions to sell something from there, people are just not going to do it, and they're going to be losing your trust. And that obviously affects user behavior and obviously affects your final results. So having HTTPS and not any problems with mixed content, so not a single URL inside your website with HTTPS will be really, really great for your rankings. Starting from correlation perspective between trust and user behavior, and on security, of course, which is the main part of this.
Yeah, I'd say anytime you're taking down someone's personal information, you should have it secured, or even if it's just name, address, phone number, it's important.
Agree. Let's talk about that user-centric signals that Google now seems to be emphasizing, particularly with the new core Web Vitals. Fernando, do you think now with Google spending so much time talking about the user experience and user-centric signals, are things like backlinks going to be devalued because what's happening on the page and the user satisfaction is becoming valued to a greater degree?
Well, I believe that's something that is not going to change in the nearest future because they're just don't have anything else to change that. That's one of the major signals just to see if your site is really authoritative, if your site is really good, because other websites are mentioning your site. So backlinks, I don't think that Google is going to rid of them in the nearest future. I was checking how, for example, other search engines like Yandex or Bing were working with their own backlink situation. So at some point in 2013, I believe, Yandex, they were getting rid of their backlink system because it was really a mess. All the system was spammy backlink. But they returned to that 3 years ago because there are not other signals. The backlinks are a major signal. It was a mess without backlinks. It was a less mess with backlinks back.
I'd have to agree with him on that. I think that backlinks, I think, will always have an important place simply because, obviously Larry Page came up with the idea and it's been the best so far, but who knows?
Yeah, they seem to be doing a lot more, though, with was the user satisfied with this piece of content and trying to measure what the user's response was when they got there. And that seems to be placing a heavier role in ranking now. What happens to the user when they get to the content?
Yeah.
Fernando, what's the most interesting research that SEMRush has done so far this year that surprised you, that the outcome surprised you?
Oh, we have the latest one that we did actually 1 month ago, that it was based on Google manual actions when Google is going to a website and is penalizing it for doing bad black SEO stuff. And we were researching around 1,000 websites that has been penalized with a manual action. And we found out several similar stuff on them. First of all, of course, are links that were there from non-natural sources. Then we have similarities inside of the pages that were promoting bad products, bad services, bad experiences. Basically, if you go to SEMRush, you can see the Google penalties, the manual actions research held by SEMRush. You will see there all the manual actions and how to try to fix all of them. Because we found also in the comments that there are a lot of businesses that they are really afraid to report something to Google because they have taken manually actions only on a few URLs. And of course, they say these are the URLs that you need to improve, right? So they need to go to a site audit or backlink audit to change the text, but they don't know exactly where is it or what they need to change, and they're not telling anything to Google for 3 years because they're afraid if they're going to be sending that, maybe they're going to find something in the whole website and that's going to be collapsing the whole domain. So there are different situations that a lot of websites are suffering, like if I could say that these days.
Yeah, I could see why you wouldn't want to say, hey, Google, can you look at this site?
Yeah, very risky, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's time for Believe It or Leave It.
All right, Believe It or Leave It. Fernando, one of the most popular parts of Search Talk Live, we're going to give you 3 statements that we found on the internet, and we're going to ask you to tell our listeners whether they should believe it or whether they should leave it. Are you ready?
Perfect. Ready to go.
Okay, here's number one. Google's emphasis on page speed and the new first input will kill the shared hosting business because shared hosting environments cannot deliver the speed Google requires. Believe it or leave it.
Believe it.
Oh, wow. You made a lot of people just take a deep breath. Tell us why you think that.
Well, actually, speed, in terms of ranking factors, is one of the main ones. With the push that they were doing with the AMP project, selecting a group of brilliant minds working on a speed tool and a speed environment that could cache all the information that they have in one of their Google servers. So they are very serious into speed, right? They're investing so much on that. How it's working right now, that's another topic. The future of that is another topic, but they were really serious with that project.
No, I agree. That's why they developed that whole AMP for mobile thing, and don't know how that's doing right now. Okay, question number 2. There's more need for schema markup because Google's algorithm has gotten so good at understanding content types. Rewrote that. Let me say that again. There's no more need for schema markup because Google's algorithm has gotten so good at understanding content types.
Leave it.
Yeah.
I can go with a story about that.
Sure.
I remember in the Nordics, in Norway, Norwegian is a very difficult language to understand for anyone. But if we go a little bit down of Norway, we have Sweden and Finland, and Finnish. The Finnish language is really, really complicated. You have like 55 characters for one single word, and that's really, really difficult to pronounce. And for Google, if you are not putting schema on those languages, Google is really far away from understanding what is the meaning of that. So for those languages, for Finnish, Hungarian, or for Mongolian, that's something that you need to use in order to make Google understand better the content and the context of the results that you want to push there. I actually was talking with Norwegian SEOs, and the results that they have, Google has a better understanding of about the content because of the schema markups. So you need to have it there. Imagine if that's English, it's even better. We have so many different sentences, so many synonyms in English that you can use. So just make things more easier for Google. They're going to be really happy about it.
Yeah, and you sometimes reap the rewards from it. Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, good answer. Great answer. Okay, Fernando, number 3. This is a big, hope you're sitting down. The option to run a Google account manually will go away within 1 year, and everything will be automated.
Believe it.
Wow. Tell us why you think that.
I remember a couple of years ago in one conference, I don't remember where exactly, but it was a Google employee saying that for the disable inquiries that they had for the last 8 years, they had a team checking those links manually. I cannot imagine the pain that they suffered because of the quantity of disable files with all those links, with all those spammy websites. So the thing is that they said, we have fired all the team. Right now is an artificial intelligence algorithm that is checking all the incoming inquiries about disable. So if you send something to Google, you can see that you are not waiting anymore the 6 months or the couple of years for a reply. You will be waiting only 24 hours till 36 hours for a reply. So they changed that team with all the spammy links. Doing that for the manual actions is not a crazy thing to think,
Yeah.
A couple people shake their heads. Yeah, that's true. That's a different point. Yeah, well, good stuff. You made a couple people shake their heads on that one. Good stuff. Let's do our Search Talk Live tattoo. Fernando, what's your best piece of advice, your most succinct piece of advice that you would give to our listeners based on today's show? And remember, it's got to be short and tattooable.
Well, advice or slogan or a phrase?
Either one.
Advice that could either one, yeah.
Yeah, well, I have one, and I really love this one. If I'm going to do a tattoo, I definitely will do this one. That is very SEMRush here. It goes like this. work hard, party harder.
Okay.
Work hard, party harder.
Yep.
Is that the anthem at SEMRush?
Oh yes, you can see it in different rooms. And the parties at SEMRush are epic and legendary. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're gonna need some visuals with that one, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, we have an Instagram full of those pictures.
Oh.
All right. I now have reason to follow SEMRush on
Yeah.
Instagram.
So, Fernando, I want to thank you for being on the show. It's been fantastic. Lots of great content information. I think there's a lot of good nuggets for our listeners. And I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much, both of you. It was a really good time for me, and it was really useful, I believe. And for me, it was a pleasure to be with you guys.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, that's been another episode of Search Talk Live. We'll be back in a couple more weeks. Have a nice day.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for listening.
All right.
Search Talk Live is brought to you by Pixel Cut Labs, a 2019 U.S. Search Award-winning SEO agency. Welcome to Page One. If you have a question about today's show or would like to be a sponsor, email Robert at searchtalklive.com. That's Robert at searchtalklive.com.